Hello Oracles! Today we're going to go over all the different catalysts we can see coming up for Tesla stock over the next couple of months, both between macro environment news and Tesla specific news, and it is pointing to a very bullish Q4. So to get into it started, the next few catalysts we have coming up are going to be macro related. As of the time of this recording, we are up about 0.5% pre-market. We bounced right off of that $280 support level yesterday, so we are in a consolidation phase. Chances are we may end up being green today. The entire market is green as of right now. We had a couple of strong days of selling off based upon the Fed's hawkish news last week, so we may see a little buying going on today. So based off of these catalysts and the projections that I see, and we talk about technical analysis quite a bit on here, we take a look at the charts and see where the stock price is moving, and when you're looking at different levels like the $280 support level, and you say, all right, are we going to break down below that or are we going to stay above it? It is a lot of these catalysts that are going to cause that move to happen. So looking at the catalysts that we have coming up, we could potentially see a break down below that $280 level based upon macro environment news, which could end up pulling us down to fill that $247 gap. There's also a gap down to $259. So we don't have to fill these gaps. These are just levels that I look at, and then the catalysts that could drive us to these levels. And then after that, I see a strong recovery going into the end of Q3 and into Q4. And now, of course, these are just my predictions that I can foresee potentially coming along the way. Not to say that they are going to happen, but based upon the information that I have, this is what I see, so I share my insights with you guys. So the first one that I see coming up is going to happen this Thursday, and we are seeing quantitative tightening double. We talked about it on last night's video if you guys want to go and watch that for more details on it. But the Fed is going to be running off their balance sheet even faster, which means that they are pulling money out of the economy, which in turn usually leads to a little bit more of a red market because there's less money out there to purchase up stock. And the one catalyst we can potentially see coming for Tesla specific in the next couple of weeks are going to be numbers coming out of Shanghai. We are seeing very strong numbers in production coming out of there, over 3,000 vehicles per day coming out of Shanghai. So looking at the numbers coming out of August, despite Model 3 line being down, we might end up seeing numbers that are stronger than June, and June was a record month. So will we see a record month for August? We shall see. If not, we will definitely see one for September. And then the next big catalyst that I see, which I think is actually going to affect the stock market even more, potentially based upon, how the Fed could change their interest rate hikes coming at the FOMC meeting, is going to be the CPI data. We are going to be getting that on September 13th, and right now I do not know what expectations are. We should be getting those over the next week, but if we can come in at under 8% and have a 7 in the front, that shows that we are still quickly trending in the right direction when it comes to inflation. So right now we're looking at the Fed thinking that it might be a 75 basis point hike come the FOMC meeting, but if we get a lower than expected reading for the CPI data, we might actually get a 50 basis point hike, which is a more dovish stance by the Fed, which means that the stock market might rally off of that. The day after we get CPI, we will get the PPI data. That is the producer price index. So very much like the consumer price index with the CPI, producer price index is about how much products cost to produce. So that is another one, and that tends to be more of a leading indicator, which we have seen over the course of the year where PPI comes out and then the following CPI kind of follows that trend. So PPI is also going to be an important one. Those come out on the September 13th for the CPI and September 14th for the PPI. And then the next big catalyst is going to be the FOMC meeting. This is happening on September 20th and 21st, and we are anticipating, as I said last night, a 70% chance of a 75 basis point hike. But again, if we get a lower than expected CPI data, we might actually get a 50 basis point hike. And if the market is currently pricing in a 75 basis point hike, that means that we might actually see a nice rebound coming off of this for the FOMC meeting. Now, someone had asked in the comments what pricing in means. Well, the whole entire stock market is just basically a huge mathematical formula that is out there, and this huge equation of numbers that are all put together to determine what levels the stock market should be trading at. So the interest rates are just one of the numbers that are put into this giant formula that are deciding what the stock market should be trading at. So you put that in there, the algorithms say, all right, well, this is now the interest rate, so these prices should be at this, PE compression should be here. It all factors it all in a giant mathematical equation, and that's what we come up with. And so when we say it is priced in, you're pricing in that interest rate level and that interest rate hike to determine where we are going to be at. And once we get past the FOMC meeting, then we get into the fun Tesla-specific news. Then we have AI Day 2022. It was formerly known as AI Day 2, but it sounds like this is going to probably be an annual event. So now it is saying AI Day 2022. So there we know that Elon has said that we should be seeing a prototype for Optimus coming out. Farzad had mentioned that maybe we're going to see a robotaxi prototype as well coming out of this. Could be very exciting. This is usually done as a recruiting event. In the past, historically, we don't see the stock market move much off of events like this. But those of us who are deep into the weeds when it comes to Tesla and the stock and the company and what it means for the future down the road, this could be huge. Because if we get some huge implications coming out of this AI Day 2022, we could see an awesome buying opportunity that the rest of the market just doesn't understand. So that's how I have taken all of the last few days like this that we've had, like the last AI Day, Battery Day. All of these things have been huge buying opportunities. Now, a few days after that, on October 2nd, we are most likely going to get production and delivery numbers coming out for Q3. This, I think, is going to be huge. We are going to be beating Q1. A matter of how much are we going to be beating Q1 by? So currently right now, I have projections around 360,000 vehicles produced and delivered for Q3. If you want to check out Karav over at Tesla Karav on Twitter, he has some awesome and very accurate numbers over there. And I have my numbers over on Patreon if you guys want to check that out. That link is down in the description. And I think these numbers are going to be a huge indication as to the ramp pace that we are going at, which could mean that Q4 could be even bigger. I think Q4 production and delivery numbers could exceed 500,000 vehicles. My prediction and forecast right now is below that, but I do think that they have a potential of reaching that number. And 500,000 for a quarter is insane to think about, considering back in 2020, we produced just under 500,000 for the entire year. And so after production and delivery numbers, we could be on a bit of a tear at that point. And then we have October 13th CPI data coming out. More macro news, but if we continue to see the inflation trending downward as we are expecting, and if for some reason that number comes in under 7% in October, we can see this massive run continue for Tesla. On October 14th, we will get the PPI data. And again, if we see that trend continuing down, that could be a leading indicator that CPI in November will continue coming down even faster. Elon himself has said it is hard to anticipate macroeconomics, but he is anticipating a sharp drop-off when it comes to inflation. He has very inside numbers when it comes to all the prices that they are paying for all of the supplies that they are getting for all their factories, and he's seeing that some of these prices are coming down later this year. So this is his anticipation. Whether it's going to be right or not, we will have to wait and see. But if we do see this sharp drop off in inflation, it could be very bullish for the end of the year. And now after that PPI data, we are going to have the Twitter court date coming for October 17th. Now, this here, they might settle prior to then. We don't know. As of right now, the only information we have factually is that the Twitter court date is going to be on October 17th. So a lot of people are thinking that Elon is going to be forced to buy it, but maybe having a bargaining deal, bringing it down a little bit lower. Dan Ives and Gary Black seem to think that he's going to be able to buy it at $50 to $51 per share. So if he ends up buying it for less, maybe he has some of that extra cash on the side to reinvest back into Tesla. Elon did say that if he does not have to buy Twitter, he will reinvest that money back into Tesla stock. So we'll see how this plays out. If he gets to buy it for a lower price, will he reinvest the extra money into Tesla? We don't know. If he does not have to buy it, then we know that he will. That is what he had said he would do. That could be another giant catalyst for the stock price going up. And then 2 days after that, we are anticipating right now on October 19th, Q3 earnings. Q3 earnings should be massive. I will get into the specific numbers and my projections for Q3 earnings over the next couple of weeks, but looking at how we were in Q2 with Shanghai being locked down, but still coming in with a positive cash flow, what's going to happen now? We had Berlin already showing that they were profitable for Q2. Now we are in Q3, and we've had several analysts going over there to the factory just raising their price targets coming out of there because they're so excited about Berlin and the profitability potential coming out of there. So if we can see that going into Q3, that could be a massive boost to the stock. And then I think the Q3 earnings numbers are going to be enough to push the S&P to give Tesla that finally coveted investment grade rating for their credit. That's when I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen either end of October or beginning of November. It will come post Q3 earnings. They will see the numbers for Tesla. They will see that Q2 was a fluke. And I know that whatever it is, we can say conspiracy theories about it, how they don't like Tesla, whatever it is, underlying corruption. I think we are going to see that investment grade rating coming after Q3 earnings. So I'm guessing my birthday is November 8th. I'm guessing for my birthday we will see that, so that would be awesome. And then I think at that point we are going to see a massive run in the stock because there's a lot of institutions right now who are not invested. Right now we are at low institutional ownership when it comes to Tesla stock based upon other blue chip and FANG stocks that are out there. The Apples, Microsofts are around 75 to 80% institutionally owned, so Tesla is mostly retail owned. So when institutions start to come in there, it'll balance off the stock price, make it less volatile, and drive that stock price even higher because there's going to be a lot of buying pressure coming in. And I think some time maybe at the Q3 earnings, but between October and November, we are going to hear about one, if not two factories that are going to be opening up. So I think we are going to hear about, locations. My guess again is going to be Canada and Indonesia. We'll see what ends up happening, but I think we hear about at least one, if not two factories coming by the end of the year. And then lastly, we are looking at potential wide release of FSD. I think that could happen sometime in November or December, but we will have a wide release of FSD beta to everyone in North America. That is going to be a huge stepping stone. We might even hear about FSD beta being released to some small areas over in Europe or over in China. There have been some murmurs lately about these things going on, so they are in the works. Maybe we hear about them by the end of the year. Let me know in the pinned comment below, what other catalysts do you guys see that could drive Tesla stock higher or lower over the next couple of months? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.